tell about some of my very earliest memories as a child. And I truly doubt that any of you in this room is of an age that would allow you to have had those same experiences. You're just too young. So let me tell you about some of them. They're vivid. They're very vivid and they're very impactful in my life. It was December 7th, 1941. I was 5. I was safely tucked in with family, parents, and sister. And during that night, or during that day, you all know what December 7th is because you've studied your history, but it should go a lot farther than that. December 7th was an intrusion on our homeland, our territory of Hawaii. It was out of the blue. It was unexpected, at least by the man on the street and everyone else except maybe somebody somewhere, but we don't even know about that. And it invaded our privacy, and it invaded our safety, and it crashed into our manpower and our military wear, and it demolished great things. Well, the tranquility that our family had, and everyone else too, was blown to bits. We couldn't imagine what would be next. And of course, remember that before December 7th, 1941, there was a lot of warfare going on in Europe, and we weren't a part of it. But of course, the news carried it, and we knew how gruesome and awesome it was. And so the fear quotient went right through the roof. What would be next? Well, within a day, America declared war against Japan. Fortunately, Great Britain joined us in that declaration, so we have a buddy, an ally. But another day later, Germany and Italy declared war on America. So we had 3 major war points of interest. And it was awesome, and it was terrifying, and what was going to happen. So it began, World War II, and we're in the middle of it. This had a galvanizing effect on America. It was a very, very positive effect, if you can imagine. It brought us together in a oneness that has probably not been doubled since. Why, the home front had to be protected, and everyone was committed to do it. With determination, they coupled themselves with a patriotic feel that made everyone willing to go forward, defend America. There was determination, patriotism, cooperation, commitment, and selflessness, willing to sacrifice. Those are all good things. Now you know why they call that the greatest generation. Here's where my story begins. I readily enlisted in the manpower to fight the war. I was 5 at that point. The next year I was a first grader, and they had a mechanism in place to enlist every school student from first grade on, and I was there to get into the war. I was going to do my share. And you say, what could that be? Well, they had a program. It's amazing how America put through programs. And the first one that caught my interest was, we will save metal, every bit of tin foil. We will save it, and it will go to build the bombs and the planes and the boats and the jeeps and all the things that it takes that are of precious commodity. And they told us how a 6th grader could collect metal that would make a difference in the war so you could fight it. And that was save every can that crosses your kitchen counter. And so I did. They told me how. They said, take the can after Mother empties it, rinse it out, cut the bottom out, take the 2 discs, slip them in the tube now, right? It's a tube, both ends out. Slip it in there, put it on the ground, and take your massive weight, you first graders, and crush it. And I was the can cop in my home. I took care of every can, and I put it in a box, and it was stored in the broom closet off the kitchen. And when the day came to get them out on the curb for pickup, Marion didn't miss a beat. She was determined. Well, there was other issues that we could get involved in, and we could incorporate the whole family in this, and that was raising some money to buy war bonds. Money came in to fund the various programs that were necessary to stage this war, to keep the men equipped. And how can a kid in first grade, what could they contribute? Well, you know, you salespeople know, a little bit consistently builds up. So every week there was a day that was war savings stamps, no, not savings stamps, war stamps, war bond stamps. And we brought our weekly allowance. For me it was, I couldn't remember, it was 1 quarter or 2. But the stamps came in 25-cent denominations, so I could buy 1 or 2. And then I would affix it into a book that was like a day planner, a little book, or like a check ledger, with squares in, you put them in. And when you had 1875 accumulated, you got to put your name on the chart. And that book was then taken to the principal, and it was returned. We came back the next day with a war bond. 1875 is in that book, and you hold on to it, and in a certain number of years it was $25. And today you know it as Series E savings bonds. You know about those. That's where they started. You know, I was hooked. I became a saver. I became a supporter, and I still am. Well, the military needed a lot of stuff. They needed uniforms. They needed boots. They needed gas. They needed food. All the things that were needed in great quantities very suddenly, and so there was a rationing put on the home front. You folks can't have every last thing you need because we're going to send it forward to support the armies. And that became a mobilizing thing. So within months from December 7th, the government had a rationing system in place. And I have, and I plan to bring, one that's about that big, and it had, every citizen got one, and your name was on it, and that was in your signature, and it was stamps in there to buy these precious commodities that were rationed. So you couldn't have a pair of shoes just because you wanted them. You might have to put some cardboard in the bottom to close the hole, but eventually you'll have saved up some stamps for shoes, or whatever it was you needed. Well, there are many, many other things. Victory gardens were born and have proliferated now. That's other motivation, but that was a big motivator because, again, food had to be shipped to the troops. In many ways, these 3 years of my life, 41, I was a little 5, I wasn't active, but 6, I was in first grade and I enlisted. 7 and 8 was the end of the war. And I was passionately involved in all of them.
Visiting hours for adult services are over in 10 minutes. Thank you for your cooperation.
So how did it impact me, and how might it impact, things like this impact you? For me it was that I had deep feelings of patriotism and conservation. And those feelings are still a very key part of me. I truly believe that America's victory was a blessing of God. If you read American history and how the battles went, you will see the hand of God on our side. That blessed victory gave us 60+ years of home front living in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Now do the math. 60+ years is what I said. But what's the difference between 2015 and 1945? Who's got it? It's 70 years. Mm-hmm. What is the last 10 years? Why did I not include it? Because I think America is on a very slippery slope. And I think those liberties that we were so passionately defending have been being eroded. Eroded to the point where it's really time to enlist the passion and the patriotism and the cooperation and the desire to defend America in a wholehearted way, again, so that we would not be assaulted, allow the assaults that are going on to our institutions, even to our military, with home front terrorism attacks. These things are new and foreign to us. And we can't sit back and just let it happen. When will we be galvanized to fight again? To win a second war on our liberties and our freedoms. I would ask you to consider three things. Number one, I'm going to ask you to pray that God would continue, or again, bless America. I would also ask you to keep informed on what is going on in the world of politics and manipulation of powers. And three, as I said, get off the dime and know what's going around. Prepare for a most important election, an election whereby you can choose among a host of people, and look for God-fearing leaders who are driven by wisdom, wisdom for good, and not politics for gain. Yes, I'll say it again. God bless America. Amen.
Thank you, Marion. We have 2 minutes to get some feedback on your speech. And our evaluator for our final speaker is Mia Foster-White. Could you tell us about Emily's speech today?
Yes, Emily is working on project number 5, Your Body Speaks. Tonight her objectives are to use stance, movement, gestures, facial expressions, and eye contact to express her message and achieve her speech's purpose. She's also to make her body language smooth and natural, and she will have 5 to 7 minutes.
Having spent many a summer holed up in a rock climbing gym, Emily would like to equip you with some basic tools of the rock climbing trade so you too can escape the heat of the summer while staying active. Emily, Intro to Rock Climbing. Emily.